Ilsa, Reza, and their daughter Remy observe the stars in the sky from a space base. One stands out to her the most, as it is the largest and brightest of all. She concludes that since it is not a moon, and is hundreds of miles distant from them, it must be the Earth. The family works long days at the base, performing heavy labor while attempting to survive in the barren environment of the planet with few supplies. Fortunately, they have managed to terraform at least some of the area, allowing them to move around freely. A jump in time depicts Ilsa phoning Remy, who was escaping to search for her father in the far distance. A few hours later, Reza, looking disturbed from his reconnaissance trip, unexpectedly shows up during Remy and her mother's arithmetic session. Even yet, he goes to wish his daughter a good night, knowing full well that her fears about people around are unfounded. Reza tells her that they are the only humans on the planet in an attempt to calm her down, but the girl doesn't believe him. Remy questions her father about his experiences seeing animals, and the reasons behind their journey to Mars at a late-night family gathering. Reza simply states that he hasn't seen any animals, that things are different on Earth, and that one day, the red planet will be just as wonderful as their previous residence. On the subsequent day, Remy feels a presence in the distance, and rushes to the living room, where she discovers the word, leave, painted in red on the windows. Reza even pulls out a revolver in case he needs to defend himself, and her parents, when they learn about it and become terrified. They are unable to see the 6 people they think are there, but they manage to spot at least 3 of them somewhere. They gently pass the remainder of the afternoon, wanting to make sure their farm pigs are doing well. Feeling uneasy, Remy chooses to investigate and discovers their lone, surviving animal, an unguarded piglet. When Ilsa calls her daughter out, a few strangers rush to seize her. Reza is able to stop them, and shoots them in the head to save his child. Ilsa notices this. Ilsa rescues Remy just as another enemy is ready to steal her, attacking the stranger until she is unable to move. The bandits open fire from a distance, and everyone flees for shelter. Once the girls are inside, Reza shoots the final attacker, hurting him in the leg with Ilsa's assistance. While the mother and daughter examine the remains, the father departs to do an inspection. Remy may be seeing people for the first time outside of her parents, and to her unfortunate fate, it turns out to be a dead body. They wait for Reza till daybreak out of concern that he might have been attacked by a stranger far away. At one point, they even hear some firing, and they start to panic. The lights go out following an impromptu trip to the restroom, and they are left in complete darkness for the remainder of the evening. Ilsa gets up and grabs a machete to investigate, but she and Remy are taken aback when a hurt guy breaks into their house. The man from yesterday is back, arguing that the family doesn't belong there because his parents originally owned the property before they took it away from them. After several years and many challenges, the man succeeds in getting back his house, and he grants Lisa and her daughter permission to remain as long as they don't cause any problems. Conversely, he will take care of Ilsa, leaving her daughter in his care alone. They reject the plan, though, and run away to find safety close to the central base. When the man is caught off guard, Ilsa seizes the chance to enter and ambush him by grabbing the first object she can find in the kitchen. As soon as he gets inside and learns of Ilsa's scheme, the man subdues her and sustains a fresh cut to his leg. He tells her that he has enormous plans for the station, and requests for 30 days off from assassination attempts. In reality, he wants to revitalize the area and unleash its full potential so that the girls and he may both have better lives. Ilsa merely requests that he give Reza a dignified funeral, thereby atoning for his passing. He grants them this, burying Reza alongside to the man's erstwhile allies in a neighboring mountain. At that point, they move in with the enigmatic man, who is still wary of Ilsa and her kid. Remy nevertheless keeps a watch on the man, who is well armed. When she gets a chance to look through his belongings in private, she discovers a drawing of a woman, the same one her mother had battled to keep her safe the day before. She retains the drawing for herself after taking it. Later that night, the man informs Ilsa that he has done repairs to the station, and that they can now use the faucet system, which was not possible before. Furthermore, the following day a small robot in the shape of a box begins to function. Remy finds it endearing and gives it the name, Steve, making it her first mascot and companion. In an attempt to gain Ilsa's trust, the man introduces himself as Jerry after supper. She responds by telling him that her father brought them into the home in the first place rather than occupying it with force. They had to defend themselves, nevertheless, because Jerry's father turned them away after finding out they were from Earth. Jerry still has some animosity towards them, though, since they were the ones who forced his mother into exile. Even if they aren't attempting to assault one another anymore, there is still tension on the base in the days that follow. Remy disputes that she stole his drawing when Jerry asks her if she did. She cherishes it like a treasure, and the man lets her have it even though he knows it's a lie. As Ilsa and Jerry start to show signs of a physical connection, Remy becomes uncomfortable and decides to leave the station by herself, refusing to even allow Steve to follow. She eventually gives up on her goals after encountering a force field of some sort that acts as a barrier, causing Remy to obfuscate and marking the edge of the livable boundary. But then she finds a huge door, leading to a dimly lit hallway. Remy walks in, not knowing what to expect, and the door closes behind her. A few meters in, with the aid of a flashlight ball, she advances. But the pressure and oxygen deprivation cause Remy to pass out as the light at the end of the tunnel fades in the distance. Jerry comes to her aid, and she finds herself back at home base, waking up in her bed next to her mother. During their conversation, Jerry informs Remy that the barrier is made entirely of pebbles and dust. He claims to have returned from the war, and that the sooner she realizes that the artificial atmosphere they produced is gradually seeping into space, the better off she will be. A month has passed since Remy's father passed away, and while her mother attempts to console her, it doesn't appear to make much of an impact. Remy marks the days with dust in a mirror. Jerry asks Ilsa to perform a song on the guitar he finds the following day. Remy hears her mother sing, and she goes to the greenhouse out of melancholy. She tells her mother there that she despises her for pretending everything is fine. Jerry throws away his gun in the kitchen, allowing Ilsa to confront him. She subsequently finds out that the gun is empty of bullets and is therefore worthless, so in order to keep her daughter safe, she goes and gets another sharp object. The two adults fight indoors out of sight of the girl, but Remy flees in fear after Jerry emerges from the hospital severely hurt. She is stopped by Jerry, who requests that she wait until it is safe for her to enter the base in order to prevent her from discovering her mother's body. Reza and the other humans are buried next to Ilsa on the same mountain, leaving just her daughter in Jerry's care, who swears not to harm her. After a few years, the two coexist in a rather harmonious manner, enhancing the core base and the surroundings to the point where more pigs, chickens, and vegetables are kept there, as well as adding greenery to other areas of the territory. When Remy, a young adult, encounters Jerry at an artificial pond, he tells her to try it and walks away. She does it at night, jumping in headfirst. They return to the house so that Jerry may surprise her with a gift after sharing some booze. Jerry had drawn her mother while waiting for Remy to become little older so that the details wouldn't be lost. Jerry comforts the grieving girl as she finishes, but he seizes the opportunity and plants a kiss on her, which makes her say no. The tension between the two is growing at this point. Jerry is eager to get closer in order to start what he feels is an urgent repopulation, but Remy is adamantly against it, not giving a damn if they are the last humans in the universe. After their argument, Jerry encourages her to think again about his suggestion. Remy declines to play ball when Steve tries to lift her spirits and retreats to her room. Thinking she would be safe, she discovers Jerry inside, carrying Remy's oxygen mask, which she would later use to break through the barrier. Even though Jerry assures her that nobody else is out there, Remy wants to take the mask back so she may walk outside and witness the truth for herself. Jerry becomes enraged and leaves with it. Jerry uses a valve to force her to fall and hit her head on the floor during their struggle. Jerry is surprised to learn that Steve the robot was the only person who saw what happened. Remy discovers she is strapped up, and that Jerry is on top of her when she wakes up with a wound on her head. The girl loses hope despite his attempts to defuse the situation. The girl has the opposite reaction. When he assures her that there is still hope for humanity, she starts to struggle on the bed and hyperventilate. Jerry apologizes and says that everyone is forcing him to behave in order for him to survive, even though he doesn't enjoy doing those kinds of things either. Jerry feels compelled to threaten her because of her extreme desperation if she doesn't stop. The girl grows even more desperate, but at least she stops talking now because she's afraid of what might happen. Steve shoots Jerry as he is ready to move forward in order to save the girl. Despite having a severe neck wound, Jerry chooses to approach the robot and blast it to pieces rather than staying with Remy. Jerry struggles in the kitchen as Remy escapes after managing to release himself. He can see the girl staring at him through the window's reflection. Remy disagrees with his attempt to salvage himself by assuring her that she needs him just as much as he needs her. Jerry wanted to stop since he truly cared for the girl, even though he was going to grab his rifle to defend himself. She is left alone in the entire region, as well as on the base when Remy successfully hits her in the head. She is limited to sitting and sobbing all night long. She becomes the sole surviving entity in the base of the mountain, with the exception of a few plants and animals, after she buries Jerry's body there, knowing that no one else will show up. She assesses the area after taking a shower. Even after she succeeds in turning her robot friend back on, Steve still rejects her. Remy lives by herself, observing the animals and surviving on her own. Nevertheless, she starts to become lethargic, sedentary, and sluggish, thinking her mother has touched her while she is asleep. In addition, she starts to get images of Jerry skulking around the base. She ends these visions by yelling loudly so that everyone can hear her. She wonders if there are other people there, with only the small Earth in the distance for companionship. She doesn't give up though, and after numerous attempts, she succeeds in getting Steve working again so she may bid him farewell for her upcoming journey. Remy bids a final farewell to all the departed on the mountain. As the machine laments the loss of its comrade, she sees Steve tending to the pigs in her final image of her house before making her way to the cave opening by March. Wearing her oxygen-supplying mask, Remy advances and passes through to the other side as though nothing had occurred. To her amazement, she discovers just miles and miles of desolation that are entirely reserved for her exploration. She is both anxious and delighted to see the wide beyond. There's nothing but dirt and sand on the horizon, no human civilizations. Alone in the vastness of the red planet, the girl senses something behind her and watches as the tunnel gates close.